Live, welcome in. My name is Patrick. If you like true crime, we're live every single day, multiple times a day, all the time. Crazy stuff just keeps happening. This is the Minneapolis school tragedy that happened earlier today. So let's jump right into it. There's some live updates going on. Here we go.
As a community in that neighborhood, it impacts everybody there.
Yeah, the 17 victims, other than the 2 children that were killed, went to 3 different hospitals around our area, including Hennepin County Medical Center.
And our So Young Kim is joining us live now with an update on
hell.
conditions. So Young.
TikTok, can you guys hear that? Thumbs up in the chat.
Kelsey, Randy, in the latest update, Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara says all remaining victims are expected to survive. So as this horrific day plays out, that is some positive news that we could bring you. And hospital officials here, as you know, this is a level 1 trauma center, HCMC, here in downtown Minneapolis. So the victims with the most serious injuries were brought here, and hospital officials say they received 10 patients earlier this morning, 7 in critical condition. 6 of those were children, and of those fighting for their lives, again, Chief Brian O'Hara says all remaining victims are expected to be okay. And the chief of the emergency medicine department,
Oof, I mean, that's good, but still.
here says, again, they are a level 1 trauma center, so they train, they prepare for critical incidents just like this one, but it does take a toll. And without getting into specifics of individual conditions, he also spoke to the complexity of the cases. Take a listen.
We are dealing with gunshot wound injuries from apparently a high velocity weapon. And, you know, gunshot wounds can be very problematic because they can involve multiple body systems. And again, they require a lot of resources to manage.
Oof.
And we want to show you this video of the scene here at the hospital from earlier today. A couple of the streets around Hennepin Healthcare were blocked off this morning. Armed law enforcement officers were seen patrolling the area as patients were arriving and families were frantically trying to reunite with their loved ones. Of the 3 victims being treated for non-life-threatening injuries, 2 are children, and hospital officials say the ages of the children being treated here are between 6 to 14. And again, hospital officials tell us that they will provide another update later this afternoon, and we'll bring you more as we learn more here at the scene. For now, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, So Young, live in Minneapolis tonight outside of HCMC. Children's Minnesota releasing a statement around 4:30 this afternoon as well. 3 children remain in our Minneapolis hospital for care as a result of the tragic incident this morning. 4 patients have now been discharged, though. Our thoughts are with the victims, their families, and loved ones in our communities who are impacted by yet another senseless act of violence. We will not share more details to respect the privacy of our patients and families.
As you can undoubtedly imagine, there are people all over the Twin Cities, really all over the country now, with this in the back of their minds and certainly in their hearts. Vigils are happening tonight for not only the tragic victims, but those who are still trying to heal in the hospital as well after several surgeries today. Our Mary McGuire is at Holy Angels. There's going to be a vigil there tonight, Mary, one of at least 2 that we're going to cover live as well. Tell us about this one.
Well, and I think after something so horrifying happens in your community, a lot of people are wondering what they can do. They are looking for something tangible. And so many times in the Catholic community, we turn to prayer. And that's what's going to happen here at the Academy of Holy Angels here in Richfield tonight. A vigil planned for 7 p.m. This is being put on by the Archdiocese of Minneapolis and St. Paul. We are told that the Archbishop Bernard Hebda, he will be speaking here, as well as members of the Annunciation community. And the ties between these 2 schools really can't be overstated. Annunciation is one of the largest feeder schools to the Academy of Holy Angels. So a lot of times the kids that you went to elementary school with, they are the same kids that you're attending high school with. So I am told that counselors here at Holy Angels, they were offering support services to alumni of Annunciation who were grappling with this horrifying news today. Now, as you mentioned, Randy, several other vigils planned across the Twin Cities tonight. We do know of a large one planned at Lyndhurst Park in Minneapolis. Minneapolis. I've heard of several other Catholic churches across Minneapolis, St. Paul, and other surrounding communities. They are having masses, prayer services, and vigils for these victims. I am told that the gym here at Holy Angels can hold up to 1,500 people, and they are expecting a capacity crowd here tonight. But I did speak with administrators just a couple of minutes before coming on the air here. They said that it was a surreal day here at Holy Angels, a very sad day, and they are still just trying to wrap their minds around what happened here.
And that will continue for many hours, days, months, and years to come. Thank you, Mary. We'll catch up with you later for that vigil. The city of Minneapolis, as Mary just mentioned, they'll also be hosting a vigil tonight for the victims of today's tragic event.
And it'll be held at Lyndhurst Park, just a few blocks south of Lake Harriet. Everybody invited to attend. It will begin at 8 p.m. Memorial Blood Center is saying that they have a 3-day level supply, but there's still an urgent need for blood donations, not just based on today's events, but multiple mass shootings in recent days.
If you want to donate blood, you can book an appointment at mbc.org. Memorial Blood Centers is urging people not to call hospitals to book appointments as they are busy taking other urgent calls as well. All this is very understandable in the light of this tragedy today. And for monetary donations, there's a text line you can donate to as well. It's on your screen right there. Text ACF1 to 4144. Again, let me run this through you again. It's Minneapolis Community Fund. Text ACF1 to 41444.
And reaction continues to pour in from across the country tonight as well.
This morning, President Trump issued a statement. It reads like this: I have been fully briefed on the tragic shooting in Minneapolis. The FBI quickly responded, and they are on the scene. We now know the FBI's investigation is going to center around, this is an addition I'm adding to this, the FBI is going to center their investigation around a domestic terrorism motivation here with emphasis on a hate crime toward Catholics. The White House, as the president states, will continue to monitor this terrible situation. And the president goes on to say, please join me in praying for everyone involved.
And former President Biden also saying no parent should ever have to bury their child. Jill and I are heartbroken, and there are simply no words to adequately mark such a horrific and painful moment. With all our hearts, we're praying for the victims, their families, and the community.
Archbishop of New York, Cardinal Dolan, posting a statement as well that reads in part, once again, we are shocked and horrified by the news of another senseless shooting, this time all the more disturbing because it happened at a Catholic church and school, which should always be sanctuaries, in his words of peace.
And this afternoon, Police Chief Brian O'Hara confirmed the shooter's identity as Robin Westman. And Fox 9 has confirmed the shooter's mother previously worked at Annunciation.
Fox 9's Mike Manzoni is live in Richfield tonight at a scene that may be connected to this deadly situation. Mike, what are we learning about this shooter so far today?
Randy, Kelsey, we've spent the afternoon trying to gather any details that we can. Within the last several hours, investigators went through an apartment at that apartment complex across the street here in Richfield. We'll show you some of that video in a minute, but as you mentioned, investigators have identified the suspected shooter as Robin Westman. She was 23 years old. No criminal history as far as we know. The suspect's mother, as you mentioned, worked at Annunciation at one point, so there is a connection there. Court records show that she, the mother here, applied for a name change for her then son back in 2019. She wanted to change his name from Robert to Robin, and that's because documents say Westman identified as female and wanted the name change to reflect that. Police say they are also right now aware of a manifesto that was out there at one point on YouTube today. That manifesto, Chief Brian O'Hara said, apparently showed the suspect at the church, at the school this morning, and included what they are characterizing as disturbing writings. The FBI has worked to get that taken down from YouTube, so it is not out there at this point. We do have some video also from earlier, several hours ago, as investigators served search warrants on at least 3 properties in the Twin Cities metro, including this apartment complex here in Richfield, as well as another nearby house not far from here in Minneapolis. It is unclear what they took, but we know they did take some items out of at least some of those properties, and we'll be, of course, going through those that evidence in the next several hours and days. No word yet on a motive, but we will continue to follow this. This is, of course, very early on in the investigation, and in the coming days and weeks, we could know more about what evidence those investigators seized this afternoon. We'll send it back to you guys.
All right, Mike, thank you. Now, as we hit the bottom of the hour here, for those folks who may just be joining us, let's reset, let people know exactly what we're dealing with today. It has been going on since about 8:20 this morning at Annunciation Catholic Church and Annunciation School in South Minneapolis. A mass shooting there. At first blush, it was 19 victims. 2 of those have died, an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old student there. And then 17 others were injured in this shooting. It happened as those students were getting set to do morning mass at 8:30. Some were already seated and some were just coming in at the time.
Yeah, and this is the school community, but also regular parishioners were coming in for mass as well. This is something that probably regularly happens
YouTube, make
on
sure you
Wednesday
guys like the
mornings
video.
for the school and for
Hit the thumbs up button
as
for me.
well. The shooter was on the outside of the school and began firing shots through the windows at these children. And the majority of those who are injured and the 2 that were killed are children, very young children. We know that 3 parishioners in their 80s were also shot and injured as well. The gunman then, dressed all in black, according to witnesses and the police chief, took their own life, probably as police were responding this morning. MPD first on the scene there, along with EMS, to render first aid. And you can see this is the scene shortly after, as children are reuniting at the school with their parents who rushed to the scene. The principal saying later today that this should never happen again, that we have to have a future that is filled with hope. And this has been just a gut-wrenching day for this community in South Minneapolis, for this school community, which is K through 8, about 400 students. And we saw some alumni that stopped by with flowers, just fighting back all of the emotion that they're dealing with, because anytime you are connected to a community, you're always part of that community.
A couple things moving this thing forward. One, all those injured, we learned from hospital officials, all of those injured that were taken to the hospital, some 14 others that were actually hospitalized, most of those were children, are expected to live. And that does include some that are in critical condition, some that had surgery
that part's really good.
right away. We also know a little bit more about the alleged shooter, acted alone. This is coming from Chief O'Hara from the Minneapolis Police Department. There was a manifesto of sorts that, as far as the investigation goes, will be gone through to try and figure out the motivation for this. The shooter acted alone, presumably, and as Kelsey pointed out, did shoot themselves in the rear, outside, back of the church. All the shots were from outside the church. There were no shell casings found inside the church. And they, right now, it's an FBI investigation. It's local, state, and federal authorities that will be investigating and are investigating the shooting.
Yeah, at every level, investigators are involved.
So I guess he did end up taking his own life as well in the back.
In this, and the FBI taking down whatever it was that was posted to YouTube from the suspected shooter. We don't know what, if anything, may have been known to anybody prior to this shooting, even though the gunman acted alone, according to investigators. They're still looking into what could have happened in the days.
The craziest part is that it's kids. You know what I mean? Like, it's kids. Why? Like, what do you, like, what's the point?
And weeks leading up to this.
You're just evil? Like, that's just it? You're just an evil piece of garbage? And you're like, oh, I'm gonna hurt kids.
And if anybody
disgusting
knew anything else, there have been firearms that have been recovered at other residences. They have search warrants at 3.
The mayor said prayers aren't needed.
Residences, and then also the
Oh man, I'm gonna find that video. That is crazy.
church, and we know the suspect, their mother
is that what you
was
said,
also an
Renee?
employee at one point at Annunciation Catholic Church. So that is what we know to this point. There's still a lot of questions that need to be answered, but mostly it's about supporting this community tonight and these young children who are going to have to deal with this for years to come.
Yeah, Corin Hoggart has been on that scene now since this morning, and he witnessed how this thing unfolded post-shooting, and he joins us now live with details of the folks you talked to there today, the situational awareness there today, and kind of what it was like and what it continues to be like there at Annunciation.
Yeah, y'all, the one thing I will say is, like, as soon as I got out here, we were trying to find a different location from our other crews, and so we went around the back side of this school, and we saw that's where a lot of parents who, were mostly panicked were running up to the school to check on their kids, and then a bunch of them, were kept by the police just in a parking lot just outside of the school before they were eventually allowed right in there. And shortly after that, we saw parents and the kids just kind of rushing out of the scene and leaving. And you could just see by the looks on the kids' faces, especially, just the horror of this scene for everybody, but the parents as well. We saw tears on parents' eyes, and, a lot of, kids who just, I felt it was kind of intrusive to go up and talk to too many of them. But again, I do know folks in this neighborhood because my brother lives in this neighborhood. And so some of the people I knew, I started to go up and gently ask, how things were. And, almost right away, I asked one woman if everybody was okay. And I know her family, and she said everybody here's okay, but everybody's not okay.
Hold on, because I found, or I at least, here's the video that they said was the mayor saying that they don't need thoughts and prayers. I wanted to see that.
There are no words that can capture the horror and the evil of this unspeakable act. Children are dead. There are families that have a deceased child. You cannot put into words the gravity, the tragedy, or the absolute pain of this situation. We are a Minneapolis family. But to everybody out there, do not think of these as just somebody else's kids. Those families are suffering immense pain right now. Think of this as if it were your own. Every one of us needs to be wrapping our arms around these families, giving them every ounce that we can muster. These were Minneapolis families. These were American families. And the amount of pain that they are suffering right now is extraordinary. And don't just say this is about thoughts and prayers right now. These kids were literally praying. It was the first week of school. They were in a church. These are kids that should be learning with their friends. They should be playing on the playground. They should be able to go to school or church in peace without the fear or risk of violence, and their parents should have the same kind of assurance. These are the sort of basic assurances that every family.
Okay. And so I knew, that it was a pretty bad scene at that point. But, I do try to focus on the positives here, too, as I've told you before. There were people rushing over there to do whatever they could to help. And, in this situation, we don't really know what we can do to help. Folks brought water over there. Folks brought dogs for kids to pet. Folks offered up their businesses for people to come and stay and hide at. And I do have one thing here that I can show you. There's a second grader who lives just down the street from Annunciation, and I'm going to kind of step out of the way to make sure I don't get in the way of the police officers. But there was a second grader who was just down the street, and I left and I went to South Lindale Liquors to get a couple of bottles of water for myself and the photojournalist I was working with. And when I came back, this kid, he's a second grader at Annunciation, he came up and offered up to us this plane. He made a paper airplane, and let me set it up. It's not the greatest paper airplane in the world, but it's going to be the greatest paper airplane I've ever had because, again, second grader at Annunciation. He broke his arm just a few days ago, and then he re-injured himself last night, and so he wasn't able to go to school today. His father called it the best broken arm in the history of the world, and so he made this with one hand, and when he handed it to us, he said he wanted to give it to somebody who was covering this case, covering this story, because he wanted to help. So his little paper airplane was his way of helping. Now, this is a kid who,
oh wow,
almost literally dodged a bullet because he did not go to school today. His father told me a couple of his good friends in his class were among those who were injured, and so he quite literally could have been right there where this gunfire was coming. But
oh hell,
knowing that people have this instinct to just jump in and do whatever they can to help people in their community is a refreshing thing here amidst all this sadness, to know that there is still that care among the community.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough day to try and find some light, but I think we've done it there, Corin. There's a lot of things that people will try to grasp in the next 24 to 48 hours that shed some light on all of this in a positive way, and we appreciate you sharing that with us. That little boy is lucky to break his arm when he did, in many ways, and so what a thoughtful thing for him to do.
I know, and I think the paper airplane just captures the age in which we are dealing with and the innocence of these children, an innocence that is most certainly shattered at this point. But that paper airplane is just symbolic of the fact that we are dealing with young children having to deal with a mass shooting at their place of worship today.
Corin, thank you so much. We'll get back to you when we can.
That's heartbreaking.
Okay?
And Rob Wilson has also been out at the scene all day talking to people who've been coming and going, also the children and families that were leaving after they were reunited with their children this morning. And Rob, you're there at a place where people have been dropping off flowers, and I know you just spoke with a woman and her son, and it's just, like she told you, it's so hard to just speak of this right now because it hits so close to home for anybody who has children in school.
Right. Yeah, and and there's a lot of folks too that it's just like I need to express myself in some way, and this feels like the best way to do it, to feel like you've expressed your emotions and dealing with your grief and emotions, and maybe helping others as well. But again, the first person that dropped flowers off here early afternoon was hoping that an officer would be able to take them up to in front of the school or in front of the church. They looked into that actually for a couple of minutes, said, you know what, no, we're not able to do that because of the investigative scene up there. So we left them here, and they sat here, for hours until other people started coming by. And now here's more coming in right now, is the place where this has become, again, a place to express your thoughts. We are going to show you, though, again, we want to replay the interview I did just about a half an hour ago. Is a mother and her young son brought in these wreaths from another Catholic school that's not far from here, with the emotions that they're dealing with as they bring this in here to express themselves. Let's listen to that. Sorry, I don't mean to put you on the spot. You said you could try to talk to me. You have a connection to the school?
Well, this is my son's school, Carondelet.
Wow.
Catholic school. And then this is from his school.
Which is where?
Catholic school is 10 blocks,
yeah,
just southwest of here.
It says, may God's love comfort and surround you. We pray for peace and strength for Annunciation from your Catholic school. How does this feel in the processing of this tragedy, this unthinkable.
Right, Jennifer?
To bring this
Yeah.
out here.
It's absolutely horrifying. I mean, as a mother of a 10-year-old, I mean, you can't put into words the feeling of loss and, honestly, desperation of the situation.
On the floor, thank you.
There is nothing you can say. There's not. Just support, I suppose, at this time. It's a difficult emotion to be in, to be both grateful for your own child to be here and devastated for those whose aren't.
These are beautiful arrangements you brought here to add to this, and
Thank you.
and again, you just hope it brings comfort to yourself and to others who try to process the emotions and the grief.
Yes, I mean, at the initial stages, the most we can hope for is comfort, peace, and coming together as a community.
Wow.
So there you go. It's been busy here on the sidewalk along Lyndale, and certainly Lyndale's a busy street to begin with. And at this time of day, there's been traffic control out here
I'm gonna go
all
forward
day
just a
since
little
I
bit.
got here this morning because of the amount of
who have been in the hospital.
I think this is more of
and prayers go out
vigil.
to those families impacted and affected. You know, we heard from
Look at Tim
Minneapolis
Walls
Mayor
there,
Jacob
just
Frey
trying to,
today,
like,
and he commended some of the teachers and the faculty for their
just
heroic
blend
actions
in.
today. Just really putting themselves in danger to help others. He said, you know, we have more guns in this country than we have people. He addressed the hate. And we also heard from the principal, and I think
Matt DeBauer was just
oh my gosh.
extraordinary this afternoon.
What
right?
he had to say, he was so emotional, and what he had to say really hit home. I think he started the press conference by saying, you know, we love you, you are so brave. He talked about the heroics from his staff members. He said he calls his staff the dream team. He said the theme for this school year is a future filled with hope. So imagine that being the theme for this year. You begin school on Monday. Remember that this is the first week of school for these children. This is the third day for this year. So to have your theme as a future filled with hope and you have this happen, how do you rebuild that? He said that we lost two angels today. And also went on to say, you know, you can't change the past, but we can certainly change the future, and we will be the strongest when this is over.
And I love this. You know, he talked about, and I'm going to quote him here because I just love this quote. He said, quote, there is an African proverb that says, when you pray, move your feet. So I beg you, I ask you to please pray, but don't stop with your words. Let's make a difference and support this community. And Simone, just to expand upon, you know, him praising his staff, he said our teachers were our heroes today. Children were ducked down, adults were protecting children, older children were protecting younger children, and even the young man that Rob Olson talked to, Weston described how there was another student that jumped on top of him to protect him.
He had a nick on his neck.
He had a little neck, and he didn't know what it was from. He said it was it's some kind of debris that I got here in my neck, but you know, it was just an extraordinary interview that our Rob Olson got with this young man named Weston, who described in vibrant detail what happened there this morning, especially as the gunman shot through the stained glass windows there, and described one of his fellow students saying he got a look at him, all dressed in black with a ski mask. In fact, we have Weston queued up here right now, so let's listen from Weston for yourself.
What were you doing when this happened?
Well, we just got into mass, and it was like 3 minutes after. It was very scary. It was like my friend got shot in the back. He's in the hospital right now.
Oh, hell.
It was super scary because, like, we've never practiced it in the church. We've only practiced it in the main school, so we really didn't know what to do. We just got into the pews and he shot through the stained glass windows. Yeah.
And did you ever see him?
My friend like ran, someone helped him like run out. He saw him, he was wearing all black and he had a ski mask on.
So it just shot through the windows and never came inside?
I don't think so. I mean, I was down, so I didn't really look up.
These poor kids.
Got shot through the stained glass windows, so they're probably ruined. And
But do you have friends that got hit by bullets?
yeah, my best friend did.
Have you heard what happened with him? Is he okay?
Yeah, I think he's gonna be okay. And then my friend, he was like laying on top of me, like making sure I was safe, and he got hit.
Oh, wow.
So that was really brave of him.
And you have a nick on your neck?
Yeah, that was, I don't even know what it's from. Kind of looks like debris or something.
But that came from during this?
Yeah.
How are you feeling? You seem pretty put together here, but it's got to be tough.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm just like confused kind of, because I never thought it would happen, and it just happened. So like, just kind of crazy. And I don't really know.
Yeah, Weston Halsney there, 5th grader at that school, describing blow by blow what happened and the remarkable composure that he has.
I'm gonna go forward a little bit more soon.
Thank you again for attending tonight. For exiting, there's going to be 2 exits on this side. So if you're in our standing side in the West Gym, if you're to this side, there's an exit on that corner.
So that is the culmination of that holy vigil mass at Holy Angels High School for the Annunciation shooting victims today, both those that have passed, 2 young children, ages 8 and 10, and then the other victims,
an 8-year-old and a
17
10-year-old.
victims in all, most of those children as well. A solemn event, the bishop there tonight, also echoing the words of the Pope tonight as well.
They had a capacity of about 1,500 people inside the Holy Angels gym tonight. They were at capacity. Public invited to attend that vigil if there was enough room. But again, Holy Angels very tightly connected to Annunciation Catholic Church and School, that pre-K through 8 school at Annunciation Catholic Church. A lot of those kids do go on to Holy Angels, which is nearby. So the community is very tight, very tightly knit. And then we have another vigil that is set to begin any moment now, and you can see right there in the top right, that is Lyndhurst Park. This is put on by the city of Minneapolis, and we know that the crowd, there may be hundreds of people that have turned out. You can see candles have been lit, and there are many, many people in attendance there tonight. Again, the public welcome to attend this, and we're going to be carrying this vigil live, just like we did the one at Holy Angels that wrapped up moments ago.
Oh my God. Tragic, y'all. Tragic. What the hell is wrong with these people? YouTube, I'll be back on